Hey guys, what's up? This is Random, and we're gonna take a look at the 1.9 changelog, which was released together with a patch on gamereplays.org. It's in the main post on the very end. So if you want to download this text file, then just go to the original 1.9 post, and you're gonna have it there. It's free for everybody to read. So what I intend to do here is take a look at the things that might change the gameplay the most, and explain those. So I will exclude the main stuff, which is the log notes over here. You can all read out yourself. This is just for you to see what's going on in changelog in the language. It's sort of explanational. Then you have the bug fixes and avoidances and error corrections, which is all cool and good. You can see that there are still a whole lot of errors, whole lot of bugs, whole lot of glitches. Obviously, I'm not gonna sit here and read those to you, because you guys can read those to yourself, and there's not much to say about it. Fixed bug or fixed glitch is the best glitch. Not much else to explain. Then we have the specific matchup changes, the Scalars, which only affect the matchup itself. So the overall balance is not gonna be broken. So here we see stuff like Black Riders on level 10 no longer one-hit guardians. The reason for that is simple, because in the late game, when you actually have the level 10 Black Riders, the Nazguls, whatever you want to call them, is that dwarf cannot really harass easily, right? You either have to get your battle wagons out and have larger groups of those, and that doesn't help either, because those are super valuable units, and Mordor will have ways to deal with those. So whether it's flyers or whether it's Nazguls. Then your other way is dwarves to harass, to deliver some damage, is like via these large committal pushes, that if you send out stuff like, let's say, a full mineshaft of units, like 2 guardians, 1 pike, or 2 guardians, 2 pikes, and an axe thrower, or this sort of composition, then it's a huge commitment for the dwarf to just sort of deliver some sort of pressure on one side of the map. So this was something that there was an issue with in the late game, and now that might be fixed, because you can actually send out those lonely guardians that can just keep the Mordor back a little bit. You can just keep the Mordor on their foot a bit more, without such a large commitment. Alright, let me see what we have next. Charge attack now deals 80%, 800% from 1000% against Lorraine and Dane. Alright, so yeah, it's just not going to. Maybe he's still going to take. If he's not going to one-shot these heroes with the charge, then he's still going to take maybe 80%, maybe 90% of their HP. So just have some better chances to dodge the charge if you see it soon enough. Now deal 175 against Mumakil from 150. Yeah, that's pretty good, because usually you don't get to have the fire upgrade on Men of Dale. So that's fine, why not? Orc Warriors now deal 190 from 200%. Yeah, so a bit, this whole 1.9 patch nerfs the spamming of orcs and goblin warriors as well. Actually, we're gonna get to that later, but this whole patch just nerfs the aspect of spamming, because it's still super strong. Like the mechanics of like orc spam and goblin spam are still there. You're going to keep your opponent on his side of the map, and you don't really need to worry about defending, and you slowly wear them down. So yeah, good thing that these things are getting nerfed. Guardians do 85%, 5, that's nothing, but alright, good enough. 65 against Black Rider from 60, completely nothing, but okay, why not? deal 150 to bandwagons from 100. Right, yeah, because early game bandwagons are sort of a nuisance to both goblins and Mordor actually. I think that goblins here, dwarves against goblins, then I'd be surprised, yeah. Cave and mountain troll deal 150 to bandwagon from 100. So yeah, you don't have to go straight for the pikes if you see bandwagons. You can have a troll in between, which, you know, if you micro the troll well enough, then that can be a huge asset. Obviously, it doesn't have to be, but now in 1.8, the troll was usually something that you just lost your time with before you actually got out the pikes. So yeah. Goblin archers being a bit more effective. Guardians take 70% poison from 67. Alright, why not? I'm not sure if they actually got over some thresholds with these super small numbers, like 3% here, 10%. It's possible that they got over some threshold, and now, you know, Guardians survive 8 hits instead of 9, something like that. It's possible, but it's not going to change too much anyway. It's going to add up in long games, but it's not going to affect your early game that much, I suppose. Now deal 90% against Goblin Mine from 100, so yeah, have some more time to defend it. That's also because Spider Riders got nerfed, I think, so you have more options to defend the tunnels. Spiderlings now deal 112 against Dwarven Guardians from 107. Okay, so now you don't have to get your Spider Riders out as soon as possible, and once again the same mechanics like with the Cave Troll. They're giving you the option to do the lower tech units in the early game, so you don't have to wait so long for the bigger unit, right? For the tier 2/3 units, like the pikes and Spider Riders are for goblins. You can go with the tier 1 units and do well with them. So this is a good change. This is something that's appreciated. Goblin Swords, Poison Sword now deal 109 to Dwarf Mine from 112. Does that? I think that means that poison doesn't actually matter if you hit Dwarven Mine. I think that's what it means. Yeah. So yeah, that's alright. Why not? So they buffed their overall damage. Yeah, sword/poison. Yeah. They buffed the overall damage, but you can't really buff it additionally with the poison. So you can save the poison to fight some units, but then again, you're going to take more time to take out the Dwarven Mine. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I like that. Gotta say, I like that. It's going to take a while before I get used to not using poison when it comes to hidden buildings. Alright, Men against Mordor. Black Rider Morgul Blade, no longer castable on Eowyn. Cool lore change, why not? It doesn't affect. By the way, this sort of shit doesn't affect the gameplay whatsoever. It's so rare that you have Eowyn and Morgul Blade casted on her, so whatever, you know, if you want to have these lore changes, you know, sort of like little add-ons to the game, why not? Doesn't really matter, but it's cute. Gondor Rangers now correctly deals 90% against Dismounted Witch King, so that might go up to the bug fixes, I suppose, because if there was a mistake with the damage scaling, then, you know, that's just a glitch fix. Eomer Spear now deals 450 against Mumakil. Peter Jackson's design. Yeah, that's right. Let's go with this. That's that's very good. I like it. It's good stuff. Once again, you're not gonna have Eomer in every fucking game. Same as you're not gonna have Muma kills in every fucking game. So let's have these changes. I condone this. I condone this. Soldier now suffer extra 6% penalty to Mordor Slaughterhouse. Yeah, because it was just so fucking obnoxious to deal with soldier spam, which still is, I suppose. Okay, like 6% penalty isn't that huge, but it's gonna help out a little bit, because Gondor soldiers are similarly as spammable as orcs are, and they're much stronger. Okay, much stronger. So you're gonna have just a couple less units that are much better running around doing the same shit that orcs do. And Mordor actually has to get to his Nazguls to defend correctly, or bring some balance into the game. So why not? This is okay. Faramir Wound Arrow now deals less damage to Black Riders. Alright. Why not? It's really strong. Like, his Wound Arrow is still fucking strong. It was not really because of the damage itself, but because of the cooldown. It runs up so quickly. It's like the cooldown is there for every single fight. So yeah, nerfing it a little bit is fine. Aragorn Ormus Sword Master Mold now deals less damage to Witch King. I suppose that's only dismounted Witch King, because he's not gonna be able to hit him upwards in the air. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's still a 3k hero against a 5k hero, so he shouldn't be able to shred him the way he is. Then again, I guess that Witch King is really strong against like large amounts of units thanks to his splash, unlike Aragorn, but whatever, it's still 2k price difference, and I believe that Witch King also takes a longer time to get done, to recruit from the fortress. Thranduil Deadeye magic damage now deals 75% against Bandwagon from 100%. No idea what the fuck that means. I will suppose that once he uses the Dead Eye, you have the... It's, part of the damage is Silverton arrow damage I like, the blue arrows from elves. And part of the damage is his normal projectile, so... Yeah, the blue Silverton arrow type of damage is reduced. Okay, sure. Elves already have, Legolas Thranduil to deal with bandwagons, so nerfing it a little bit is fine. Legolas Ast right now deals a 7% against, yeah, because Thranduil Legolas combo against dwarves was obnoxious as fuck, because you had to get bandwagons to deal with elves, so that elf couldn't just go swords and archers, which is unbeatable without bandwagons as dwarf. Well, once you go bandwagons, he's had to mix in some pikes, and then you got axe throwers, and it sort of brought the balance via this way. Then the dwarf could actually engage into elf, but once he got out Legolas and Thranduil, you've had really hard time to outmaneuver elf. But then again, it wasn't that terrible. It was not as terrible as most people described it, but it was really hard. Okay, so nerfing these two heroes against bandwagons is fine to me. I think that sort of brings the balance in. Lorraine warriors now gain 10% penalty against Dwarven Mineshaft. Alright, yeah. I think this is mainly for the very early game rushes from Elf, because as Dwarf you're not gonna have your bandwagons out, and your Guardians can't really do much against Lorraine warriors just because of how fast the unit is, and they glitch around the mine evacuation. If somebody is attacking the mine, they're just gonna get stuck on one point and do nothing. and then you have like a guardian unit in middle of nowhere, wherever the fuck your mineshaft was, and yeah. So I guess it's a good way to nerf them a little bit, so it takes more time to deal as much damage for the Lorraine warriors, and you can actually get to your battle wagons in a timely manner. Barman Axe Thrower now deals 80% from 100%. Yeah, Axe Throwers super strong against elves. They have more range than the Elven Archers, the basic ones, the Lorraine Archers. And then they're good against spikes as well, because they have slash damage, same like swordsmen. So Axe Throwers with battle wagons was sort of hard to deal with in like mid-game scenarios when you didn't have Legolas, basically. And even when you had it, then you had some issues. Undermine spawn damage deals 60% to Lorraine Archer. Mirkwood Archer, but left to be considered, Undermine has 3 loads of damage per area. I suppose that's as in this area of effect, like in the middle it's the most damage. I'm thinking about this. Like in the middle area it has the most damage, and then, you know, as it goes outwards it lowers the damage. The damage decreases the further away it is from the mineshaft. This is not, you know, cleared over here, but I will suppose it's the way I say it. Maybe not, maybe I'm wrong, but whatever, doesn't matter that much. I'd like to say, well, I would like to know what was the previous value. You know, just 60% now, but what was it before? Because Undermine spawn damage was real strong against like Lorraine Archers and Swordsmen, because those had very little HP compared to pikes, but its damage was actually meant to fuck pikes. But pikemen had too much, they've had too much HP to die, so it was only archers and swordsmen who died, not the pikes. So maybe if, you know, Ectelion could clear this, that would be good. Berserker radius of damage against dwarf infantry now 15% from 20. Right, original 15, so original in 1.6 I will suppose. Not sure how much does this do, but yeah, Berserker is super strong against dwarves, so the more you nerf, the better. Except, of course, you don't nerf them too much. I guess that this is mainly for the mineshaft evacuation, but then again, you know, 20 or 15 doesn't matter. He's still gonna one-shot everything that evacuates mineshaft and is clumped up on each other. So yeah, this might be for like those scenarios when you have a couple guardians running around split away from each other, and then, you know, for each guardian you can only have one berserker and not worry about it too much, which is still gonna be the case, but it's gonna take them more time to clear it up, so why not? Lord's Carnage radius of damage against dwarf infantry now 15 from 20. Yeah, basically, so these are less splash damage against dwarves because they can't split properly because of their movement speed. Yep. Lord's Carnage now deals 80%, 87% to Gimli, which I will suppose is, you know, less than 100%, so it's a nerf, I will say. Guardians Axe now deals 1 and 10 against Uruk-hai. Yeah, that's the Axe Rovers. This is not clearly set, but it's the Axe Rovers. Yeah, Eisen against dwarves, which was really hard for dwarves by mechanics, because Eisen had, you know, more responsive units, they were faster, and they were also really strong. So dwarves were not really able to man-fight Eisen, and you had to like outmaneuver Eisen with mineshafts in the very early game, and then you had to get your heroes out and have some proper composition of the army, and also battle wagons, obviously. So given these aspects, you know, that axe throwers are a bit stronger, guardians don't die that fast. All good. Saruman Blast now deals 80% to guardians and axe throwers. Consider blast damage is 650, but originally it was 500. Right. So it approximately stays the same. Yeah. But the damage is changed, but the percentages... The damage is increased, but the percentages to guardians and axe throwers is decreased, so overall blast damage is stronger, but not against dwarves. It's the same against dwarves. Okay, why not? Saruman is still 3k hero. You can't really, you know, say that he's gonna be shit, because Saruman is basically walking blast and fireball to a certain extent. Obviously later on he gets his storm, and he gets his dominate and whatever, you know, the level gain, but to a huge extent he's walking blast and fireball, so you can't, you know, nerf those two abilities to the ground and expect that the hero's gonna be good. Dwarven axe thrower 80% to Gondor archers, right? Guns has been reduced and axe throw damage has got incremented once. Alright, pretty simple. That's way to deal. Once again, this means that it's only going to change the... It's only going to make sure that the interaction in between axe throwers and Gondor archers is gonna stay the same, but Gondor archers HP is going to be lowered, so overall they're gonna be weaker, and axe thrower damage is increased overall. So yeah, axe throwers stronger, Gondor archers weaker, but their interaction still, you know, approximately the same thanks to the Scalars here, the 80%. Gondor archers deals 115 to guardian. I'd like to know from what, but once again it's larger than 100%, so I will suppose that, you know, it's a buff, which is okay. Because men against dwarves is once again this scenario where the dwarf can just like ramp up 8 guardian units, run around the map, and even like threaten with taking out your fortress. And all you're gonna have is like 1 unit of knights, couple Gondor archers, and your original pikeman unit that's going to slowly creep like 2 work layers, which was by the way nerfed. The gold from the work layers was nerfed, so you're not gonna have that much. You're not gonna have that much money from those. So you're left with like 3 soldiers units, 2 archer unit, 1 knight unit against something crazy like 8 guardians and maybe even 1 pikeman, you know, from the original group of dwarves that was used to creep like troll and wargs, so he's even gonna have more money from the work layer and the troll layer. So it's good that, you know, you're given a chance to defend this sort of shit in the early game. Then again, in the mid game, man usually gets the upper hand because of how responsive his units are, and you can deliver the harassment damage a bit easier. And Gondor archers now deals 107 to dwarven phalanx. I really need to have these like original percentages to know whether it's a buff or nerf, but once again it's over 100% and nothing is stated, you know, before, so I will assume that it's from 100%. Actually, I'm just going to put this in blue so I know where I was and see if it's stated in here. From means 1.8, originally 1.6 to 06, that makes sense, Pierce, Uruk, ranged, flank panel, blah blah blah. You'll know that. Cooldown means reloaded. Experience levels, indirect attack. Alright, one hit, insta kill. Sure, it's not stated here, so yeah, it'd be good to have that. Whatever, as long as it's over 100%, I will suppose it's a buff. It's possible that I'm wrong, but that's the only thing that I can assume here, okay? Elves against men. Lorraine Archer now deals 90% damage against Gordon Archer. I will once again suppose that it's a nerf, because it's under 100%. And why not? It's not that much, and you know, Gondor Archers cost 200, Lorraine Archers 300. So it's just 100 difference. The larger difference is the unit composition around those units. So this doesn't really matter that much. Also against Goblins, Lorraine Archer now deals 90% to Spiderlink, right? So once again, I will suppose this is a nerf. So, and this corresponds with what we said earlier. Even against elves, they're trying to make sure that you can actually use the Spiderlinks and that you don't have to skip them for having Spiders as soon as possible, which I still think might be the case, especially against elves. Yeah, but let's read on, because I know that there's something else too. Lorraine Warrior, poison armor now 80, 35 from 103. That's like poison slash normal, I will suppose. Yeah, so the difference in between poison armor and normal armor against Goblin Warriors is reduced. So it, in a way, it doesn't really matter if you're getting hit by normal Goblin Warriors without the poison usage, or you know, if they use it. Obviously it matters because it's 80 to 35, so it matters a lot, but you know, I was just trying to paint the picture. It matters less than 100 to 3 than 80 to 35. I will suppose these are some sort of percentages or maybe exact damage numbers, I can't tell. Goblin Fighter deals 90% to Malorn, including Poison Sword. So once again, getting rid of the difference in between poison damage and normal damage on the Goblin Warriors, especially towards the buildings. We already seen that with the mine shots. So, and again 90%, so slight nerf. Okay, all good. Elven Thranduil did hero range damage now deals, so that's the other part of his damage, right? Hero ranged and magic. We already seen the magic damage with the battle wagon. Now deals 130 to Spider Rider because normal bow would one hit them, but not that eye. Oh right. Right. Because he was getting a different type of damage when he used his Deadeye, and Spider Riders were a different type of, you know, they've had a different type of armor, I will suppose. So yeah, what it doesn't really matter. What this means is that he's gonna one hit Spider Riders, which I think is good. He's a 3k hero. Who the fuck shouldn't one hit Spider Riders? Maybe there's some level that Spider Riders can reach and not be one hit by Thranduil, like level 1 or 2. I will suppose that that's the case. So if you manage to level up your Spider Riders, and you know, good for you. Goblin Spider Sword now deals 75% against Malorn, so slight nerf. Rivendell Lancers Lance deals 115 to Goblin Mine, so slight buff. So everything we see here is basically set up in a way that is going to make Goblins' life harder in a way that they're not gonna be able to harass that easily, whilst elves are going to be able to defend better than they used to, and deal some harassment themselves with the Lancers, that is. So yeah, that's I think that's pretty good, because Elves against Goblins was just broken. It was straight up broken. It on the highest level, it was just unplayable. Like Ormus Elves against Goblins, if you played against, like if two top players played against each other, then I think that Elves off host against Goblins on host might have had like fucking 20% win rate, something like that, maybe 30. But that's still, even 30 is fucking far away from 50. Okay, it was not good. So all of these are okay. Also, one more thing that I know that might be mentioned lower further in the changelog, is that spider riders, they don't throw away the pikemen. Okay, like they used to have this sort of animation that just like they ride through the pikes, and the first line of your spider riders just fucking died off, but they threw away the pikemen, so they couldn't defend the archers that were standing like inside of them, or like literally right next to them. So the other line of the spider riders just fucking rode through the archers and did what they needed to do to clear the way for like goblin warriors and pikes to deal with the rest of the army. So that's now nerfed. They don't throw away the pikes. I don't think that they throw away any units now that far. So they're a bit more like normal cavalry, because the goblins, they already have so many fucking ways to do things. You don't need something like spider riders in 1.8 for that race. It's way too much. It's overwhelming for elves, or it was overwhelming as fuck for men, and even for Eisen at times. Okay, so elves against Mordor, another matchup that needed to be touched. Not as obnoxious as elves against goblins. I would even say that my win rate of on-host elves against Mordor on 1.8 might have been either really close to 50% against top players, that is, or maybe slightly over, because it was really well playable if you had some sort of build with the ends. But obviously that's not what you want, to have one build that's possible, and only that build will win you the game. So yeah, let's take a look at it. Black Rider now deals 90% to Lancer, so allowing Elf to harass more easily. Or not, it will still one-hit due debuff, but Lancers might survive with heavy armor. Okay, good enough. Lorraine Warrior now gain 10% bonus against Mordor slaughterhouses. Sure. Once again, more ways for Elf to harass Mordor, which is a good way to touch it. Mordor Orc Archers now deal 100% from 115 against Lorraine Warrior and Midland Sentry. Okay. Mordor Barricade Fararos now deals 25 against 50 Rivenville Lancer. Now deals 125 to Slaughterhouse from 100. Black Rider now deals only 40% to Malorn for 50%. Yeah, so literally all of these changes are made in a way so that Elf can harass more easily and deal some damage, deal some pressure to Mordor, and vice versa. And Mordor, it's only the Black Rider here, so it's whatever. But also orcs are more expensive, and I believe that they take a bit more time to create, and their horror bonus isn't so obnoxious as it was before. So yeah, the way that the patch looks at these matchups is like, the problem is that Goblins and Mordor can deal damage very easily, but it's not very easy for races such as elves or in some cases men to deal damage to them. So let's take a look at that and try to change that or balance that so that it's similarly easy to or similarly hard to deal the damage both ways. Isengard against Mordor. Lur's arrow now deals 200 against Felby's. Great. Isengard's biggest problem was not being able to deal with fucking flyers, okay? Because Saruman's fireball did tend to miss a lot because of the projectile speed and the fact that flyers are super fast. Also, your crossbows not ideal against flying units. Like crossbows are sturdy, right, and everything, so like their on-ground combat is just fine, but dealing with flyers is sort of hard. Plus, the flyers in 1.8 they used to one-hit the groups of archers, of any archers that is, but also the groups of crossbowmen. Isengard pikemen. So now having this, gives you another way of damaging the air, which is good. Isengard pikemen to deal 70% to attack troll. Right, it's gonna be a nerf because they used to run into the pikes a lot. You basically never saw attack trolls in 1.8 in high level because it was way too obnoxious to control them not to run into the pikes. I think that they fixed that they're not going to run into the pikes, they're going to stop in front of them and start hitting, so that's the AI now. It's a bit better, but also like for a price that you could get attack trolls, why wouldn't you get a flyer or Mumakil, right? There's no reason. So maybe you're gonna see more attack trolls. Okay, good. You want a variety in the game. Field Beast damage against Arsnag Furner restored to 75% from 85. Good. Very good. More of this sort of shit is needed. Corsair Swords now deals 85% from 94 to Isengard Furnace. Sure. Once again, too easy for Mordor to deal damage, too hard for Isengard to defend or deal damage itself. So changes like this are welcome. Okay, Isengard and Goblins. Crossbow now deals 87% against player cave trolls. Right, so doesn't affect the creepings, the creeps, the layers. Draw good damage against us again. Further, it's reverted 75% from 85. So that's back to the 1.6 original. Back to roots, boys. Yeah, but it's good. As I said, Eisen has issues dealing with the flyers. And okay. So Saruman will stand longer if he gets some support from X-bows or crossbows. Draw got fireball damage against Isengard. Saruman reverted once again, so basically nerfing Dragot. Berserker poison armor now 15% from 100%. Yeah, good. So Goblin warriors can actually do stuff that they should be able to do. Like Berserker already has huge splash. So if you have enough Goblin warriors, you should be able to deal with a couple Berserkers running at your fort. Isengard Uruk-hai poison now 80-50 from 105 to 60. Once again the same pattern that we saw earlier. Using poison doesn't change that much, but also the original Yeah, but it's just a nerf. This is just a nerf actually. But the difference is lowered as well. The difference in between poisoned and not poisoned is decreased as well. But this is just an overall nerf to Goblin Warriors towards Urukai, which I will suppose that it's because of the early game, where sometimes you wanted to go with the first Urukai units to get some damage done, kill some tunnels before, you know, Goblin's gonna be like doing the Goblin tanks with fucking 10 caves and spamming Spider Riders and Pikes and slowly but surely wearing you down, as they like to do that. And he could actually defend with like 2 units of Goblin Warriors with cave bats if they already had those. So now he's actually gonna have to wait to have like 3 or 4 units of Goblin Warriors, which is going to decrease the harassment potential mainly. So yeah, that's good. Decrease the harassment potential of Goblin, that is, because you're gonna have to have more units at home instead of out of the map. So Goblin Fighter now deals 75% against Isengard Furnaces, including Poison Sword. Sure, okay. So quite simply a nerf to Goblin's harassment. Good. Marauder Pike, no splash, no deals. Sure. That's just the primary, you know, primary damage, not the splash towards cavalry. Now deals 100 damage against Warcry from 150. This means Marauder now have 50 normal damage to work and 50 splash damage from 100 to 50 respectively. So just a nerf, because harassing with works was extremely hard. I guess it still will be because of the tunnel system, and you could basically have like 2 Marauder units in the tunnels, and unless the Aizen actually splits his works in like 4 groups, which itself is crazy hard because you still have to split into 4 groups of work and defend at like 2 places at home or something like that, and you know, do the macro, then Goblin could defend that unless you did all of this as Aizen. So nerfing the Pike slightly is good. Why not? The splash is okay on them because Marauders, as the only Pikes, you know, don't have the mechanics of the riders riding into them and dying. Because of that, you have to actually like manually click the cavalry with the Marauders to deal some damage. So having the splash is good in my opinion against any faction. But nerfing them specifically to Warcriders is better than nerfing them against all races, because you don't want to have Marauders nerfed to let's say Rohirrim or Knights. No way you want to have that. But against Wargs, pretty good. And also against Isengard, Howling Golden Arrow now deals 75% against Saruman. Consider its specialist damage. That's super effective against mounted heroes and 3k heroes, but Saruman doesn't deserve 90% health bar loose because it's a fucking 1k hero, obviously. So yeah, it's 1k hero dealing 90% of HP against 3k hero. Even though Saruman is considered to be like weak fighting hero, but sure. He's still going to take away significant amount of his HP. So if you already wounded Saruman and you want to finish him off with the golden arrow, you're probably still gonna get him, but you don't get to just shoot the golden arrow at the beginning of the fight and then aim Saruman with the archers, so he can't actually use anything else than let's say fireball. He's never gonna use his blast because he will just die because of the archer damage. And if the archers are going to have farsight on them, then he's not even gonna get close enough to use his fireball because they're gonna shoot him down after the golden arrow. So yeah, this is fine. At least given the chance to use the fireball or something. Like as Isengard, you have to deliver some splash to Elven army, because otherwise you have no chance in fights. No chance. Without splash, there is no fucking chance. You have your Watcher usually, you have your Isengard, and then sort of like the low tier splash, you have your Lords, which in late game doesn't really do anything. So yeah, if Elf is not going to split his army into a couple instances, then you know you should be able to win the fight. But you're not gonna be able to win anything even if he doesn't split when your Saruman is just dead, basically dead, before the fight begins. Lorraine Archer now deals 80% against Berserkers. I guess that's a nerf, but it doesn't fucking matter because you're gonna have so many of these archers that Berserkers are gonna die anyway. You're never gonna have fucking 30 Berserkers running around. Alright boys, so that's the first part of this. If you like the way, you know, this video, then just give me a feedback and let me know if you want me to continue with this, because it's exhausting as fuck. But I'm willing to go through this if you really enjoy this this kind of video. Next time we're gonna take a look at elves, and you know, and I suppose then you will have elves, dwarves. We can take a look at like one faction per video, so that I actually have the energy to explain everything and give you some insight if I have some. Alright guys, so hope you enjoyed and see you next time.